By the way, the I Killed Stuart song is like 2 verses, working on the 3rd one. It'll have something to do with folding his body into a freezer.
That's comforting. Thank you very much. Jesus Christ.
Nobody's gonna make it to this part of the video anyways.
Well, that's so goddamn disturbing.
They stopped listening like 20 minutes ago.
They said, oh, hey there, girl, tell me what do you do? She said, I'm nothing, but I'm damn sure it's more than you. That girl's a genius, oh, 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 oh. I think she's serious, oh, 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 oh.
Hello, everyone. Wow, we're making a video. And, 2, this might actually, maybe, possibly be a regular thing now. Making audio videos to talk about Raw. Because I finally have internet and my own place and everything.
Yeah, and I heard half of what you said because you're cutting in and out.
That's Stuart, everyone.
Hi.
He's having internet problems.
Oh, I'm having internet problems.
Hey, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, well, it's obviously coming from your end, so I don't really see what the...
But yours is the only one that's messed up.
What?
Yours is the only one messed up.
No, mine is not messed up, in fact. In fact, it could not be any less messed up, unlike your stupid, not my computer.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, so we're here to review Raw, aren't we?
Yeah. It was a weird episode of Raw.
Weird, but not like weird in a bad way. This is actually more bearable than the other Raws.
Alright, so we start off with Punk and Paul Heyman in the ring, talking about the injustice of last week's match. Meaning when Punk put his foot up on the rope and the ref didn't see it. So then they call the ref out, and they berate the ref for a little while. Call AJ stupid. Then she comes out.
Yeah, and she skips out, looking like a schoolgirl, and I think I tweeted something about this is a bad time to mention that Matt Stryker is a former school teacher.
She did look like she was going to, like, boarding school or something.
Yeah, I don't know. When I say schoolgirl, I don't mean, like, you know... I mean, like, something that you would see in a Japanese hentai film. Something like that.
Alright, on that note, we continue on.
She totally would. She's a total weeaboo. I know it.
But, I totally forgot what I was going to say. Okay, so she gets in the ring, and Punk berates her, and essentially tells her the same thing he always tells her, which is the only reason you're doing this is because you're mad because I rejected your proposal.
Right, and, I don't know. Interesting character development.
Well, it's interesting, but, like, I love what WWE decides that we need to remember and what we don't need to remember, because stuff 2 months ago, WWE's like, shh, you don't remember that, that didn't happen. But for some reason, they're hanging on to this.
Right, and it's, we've seen numerous examples of this in the past. Like, we're not gonna, if we're going to harp on every single example of this, we're gonna be here all night, and for every night and for the next 2 weeks.
Probably.
So, I don't know, like, if we're going to do every single example of that, we're just not going to be able to finish, but at least not before we pass out. But it's WWE for you. You know, it's selective memory and bullshit storytelling. It's basically what it comes down to with WWE.
Yeah, essentially. But here's where it gets weird. So...
Here's where it gets weird.
Yeah, here's where it gets weird. We've already talked about hentai, but here's where it gets weird.
Well, that was kind of on my own accord. But,
So, Punk starts berating AJ and telling her that if she forgets what happened, if she changes the ending to the match, then he'll forget all the time she showed up wearing his t-shirt and all the hundreds of texts that he got and voicemails that he got.
That could not be read back on television.
And he also says he'll forget how intimate they were behind closed doors and then starts screaming at her, say I'm the best in the world.
Nice.
Which is CM Punk's PG way of saying that he fucked AJ in the back.
In the back. God, are we really bringing this back?
Yes, we are. He fucked AJ in the back. He's learned well from Cena.
Well, you know, as long as we're staying consistent in our own BS, I guess I can't complain.
And then it gets more weird because right afterwards, Paul Heyman starts to propose to AJ.
Yes.
I'm sure it was jokingly, but it didn't look like it was jokingly. Like, I think it was to mock her, but it didn't really come off mocking. It came off as, oh, CM Punk, fuck that girl, I want to marry her. So I can fuck CM Punk vicariously through AJ.
Exactly. And, let's be honest here. Like, you could have made this as sort of a somewhat serious angle, like, yeah, this is going to be like the next power couple, and AJ was sort of like shanghaied into doing this, sort of like, I think it was Stacy Keibler and Test at first, like in 2004. Like, this is right around when I started watching wrestling, so I only vaguely remember it. But I think Stacy Keibler and Test had sort of that same dynamic going on, where like Keibler technically belonged to Test or some weird shit like that, something that is not in any way, shape, or form legal under United States law. But something like that, where they like try to Shanghai her into marriage or something like that, and they become a power couple, and you know, Paul Heyman gains influence on the entire WWE and Monday Night Raw. Something like that could have been interesting. But all I could think about is, holy Christ, Paul Heyman is going to destroy the shit out of AJ's hymen.
See, all I could think was, all he needed to do was sound more mocking, and it would have come off better than it did.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, is that with Paul Heyman, you never really know when he's being serious or when he's kidding. Like, I mean, you can sort of tell, you know, with the subject matter, but in wrestling, like, in storyline, you can never really tell.
No, you can't.
And you might be right. If he came off as more mocking, it could have come off better. But that's open to interpretation.
Let me think. Oh, and then we end the segment with AJ in the back berating the ref that Punk just berated, and told him that if he ever did anything that's stupid again, she'd essentially fire him. But she did it in the creepy, like, I'm crazy head tilt thing where she's staring off into nothing. So I guess we're bringing that back.
It really did look sort of like that flashback from Alien. It was like, Marines, we are leaving! Like that sort of thing. And it was creepy. And
it was.
Like, yes, she said it was that she was going to fire him. I think it was, Brad Maddox?
Yeah.
The guy was. But let's be honest, the real message that was being sent was, I will kill you and your loved ones if you do that again.
And take your
the sort of chick that AJ is.
And take your body and sprinkle it into other people's food.
Oh, like you threatened to do to me. At WrestleMania weekend.
I didn't threaten to do that to you. You were gone.
Oh, you didn't threaten, you promised.
No,
right.
No, you were gone from the call a really long time, and so I thought you had died. And so Brett asked, is Stewart dead? And I went, yes, I killed him, and I'm going to sprinkle I have to fold his body into my freezer somehow so he'll stay good long enough for me to sprinkle him into people's food at Mania. And then you came back.
I was taking my mom home from the hospital, asshole. Second of all, I do find it funny that you are willing to kill me, but at least courteous enough to keep my body fresh enough for WrestleMania weekend, so as to not poison the other people that are going to be eating my carcass.
You know, that's just the kind of person I am.
How nice of you.
Next, this is why our reviews are always so long, because we go on side stories. Which, let's be honest, they make the reviews. They make the reviews.
Definitely.
Because honestly, the content doesn't. Because now we're going to talk about Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston, which is actually a good match, but I could have cared less.
Yeah, and that's kind of the sad state of the mid-card division at the moment, is you can't really get invested in it because the titles don't really mean shit now. And it's due to a number of circumstances, like, you know, they focus way too much on the main event. You can't really get invested in the mid-card. And how are you supposed to build the stars of tomorrow when you can't get us to care about them today?
Exactly.
And that's just the sad state of affairs in WWE right now, and they do need to rectify it, as they have seemed to do with another division that we will talk about later on. But I think that it was a good match.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston is amazing. Dolph Ziggler, not my cup of tea, but tremendous talent.
It really was a good match, and it was sad that I wasn't more involved in it. I just couldn't get into it.
Like I said, I really do think it's because of a lack of focus in the mid-card division, and I think that it was a great match, well worked, but I could see the lack of interest. Absolutely, you know, I could definitely understand that.
Oh, Dolph Ziggler won that match, by the way.
Yes, he did.
And I decided that Dolph Ziggler, if he shaved his head, would look exactly like Randy Orton.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of being orange, yes.
Well, Randy isn't orange. Randy's actually tan.
He's getting back to orange.
If you see Dolph Ziggler's side profile, like the side of his face, especially when they did that zoom up on him where his eyes were rolled up into his head, like all angry Randy Orton kind of looking.
Yeah.
He totally looked exactly like Randy Orton.
Yeah, I can see that.
What do we have next? Ooh, weird segment number 2 of the night. Where Daniel Bryan and his therapist are at a restaurant, I guess and Kane walks up in an apron, and I guess it's some kind of role-playing exercise.
Yes.
Kane walks up in an apron that says Gerard on it.
Gerald, I think.
Does it? No, it said Gerard.
Did it?
It didn't say Gerald, or maybe it was Gerald. Whatever. Said a name on it. We'll go with Gerald. I could be wrong.
Good, because you are. Anyway.
Whatever. Anyways, he walks up, he has the name tag and everything, and Daniel Bryan starts to berate him a little bit. And then Kane starts talking about the chef that worked at the restaurant that he is at, and how the chef always took credit for everything that he did, and then he killed the chef and sprinkled his body into everyone's food, which is where we got that lovely story from earlier.
Right. And I don't know how to...
Oh, and the end part of that is the anger management counselor guy asked Kane if he really did that, and he said, "I'm not Kane, I'm Gerald," and then walked off.
Exactly. So
we were just what the fuck is going on?
So he might have just committed murder under a false name? I don't know.
No, I think he committed murder under his own name and is now assuming a false name. But hey, it's WWE. Nothing has to make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess all we really need to know. I'll just end on it with this note: through hellfire and brimstone, it's Gerald.
It's Gerald. Oh my god, that was a weird ass segment.
Yes, it was, but goddamn, it wasn't funny.
It was funny.
But I really do think we give Bryan a lot of credit for doing well in these segments. He's really good. Kane deserves a lot of credit as well. He does a very good job with those.
I would like to add on a side note, it doesn't really have anything to do with the show, how at least on my part, how kind of hypocritical I am when it comes to these funny segments. I say that because when DX reformed for the last time, before Shawn Michaels retired, they did all the stupid things, like they did the Little People Court, and the thing with Hornswoggle, and of course they're always goofy because they're DX, and I remember hating those segments, like thinking they were so totally stupid, because look at these guys, they're great wrestlers and they could be doing better than these stupid segments. And now, here we are, later, much later, and the same thing is happening, and I love it.
Exactly.
And I even look back
because you are a gigantic hypocrite.
I am.
But but the thing is that here it's so much more well executed. You can tell that there's a difference, and I really do think that it comes down to the people playing the parts, because it's the same people writing this that wrote that. I can only describe it as nightmare fuel. That thing with Sheamus and David Otunga, when they were trying to get the Brogue Kicked outlawed.
The Jewish thing?
Yeah, Sheamus being Jewish, and then the camera goes static, and then he starts doing the then he starts doing that. You remember Steve whom some of you might know as Monoxide.
Yeah, they know him.
Well, I'm just making sure. I don't know. It's
anyways
in kayfabe here or whatever this is. But we were in this call and we're like, dude, are we in hell? Are we in hell?
I thought the Sheamus singing the Hebrew thing was funny. A little bit. Not a lot funny, but a little bit.
It was more funny in the sense that, you know how you always have that one friend who wants you to go see him in his community theater group, and he's playing that wacky out of sorts character and he's just making an ass of himself, so you're just laughing nervously along with him. It was that kind of funny.
I'd go for that.
So when I say funny, I mean it will haunt my dreams for months to come.
All right, we're gonna move past here a little bit. I'm gonna skip the tag match, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil versus Zack Ryder and Santino Marella, because it was short and it didn't matter. Millions of jobbers. Let's see. Let's go to the next important part. The Mick Foley segment. That was a good segment.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mick Foley comes out. He talks about Punk and how Punk, if he wants to cement his legacy, he should fight John Cena at Hell in a Cell, and that Hell in a Cell essentially made him a legend, made his career, and how he doesn't like the new Punk, and how he's aligned himself with Paul Heyman, and Mick Foley himself was a Paul Heyman guy, but he only did well after he stopped listening to Paul Heyman. It was a really good segment. If you didn't see it, go watch it. It's a good segment.
Yeah, it definitely. You thought that there was a chance for Punk to get some character development going in, and Punk's character has actually developed quite a lot recently. So this is just really good, and really the thing is that if you're not moving forward, you're probably moving backwards, and that's the criticism that most of us have had about John Cena's character, is that he's remained stagnant, and in some cases just recessed. So that was the main criticism that we've had, and you can't really say the same about CM Punk, because CM Punk seems to be interested in developing his character and making someone interesting to watch. So
I think this segment helped with that a lot, too, because he's now started this thing. He kind of moved from, he still thought he was face to the fans. He thought he was still a good guy and whatever, but he was just being a dick to everyone else.
Exactly.
And
he's now sort of developed to the straight up, bad guy with, twirling his mustache and, petting his fluffy cat, in some secret spy chair or something like that.
I have really liked how Punk has slowly turned heel, because he essentially turned heel but was still acting really face.
Yeah.
Like, he'd do a condescending comment to like John Cena, or like every so often he'd do like a really douchey comment to someone, and he slowly just really turned heel to the point where now he's like, fuck the fans.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is I think that the way they portray Punk is that, yeah, they're trying to go straight up heel with this guy, you know, because he's trying to berate the fans and everything. But the thing is that they're putting him up against John Cena, and John Cena is going to be unlikable to 30 to 40% of your audience because he is, you know, because he's portrayed by WWE, like, whatever the reasons may be. I'm not going to get into them now because that's another video for another time. I'm not going to bore everyone with my opinions on John Cena because they've been said to hell and back. But I think that just the way that people feel about John Cena, whatever their opinions may be on him, he's not liked by a good portion of the fan base. Something that you just don't see out of the number one guy from your company. This is a complete anomaly in how this guy is treated by the audience. So you don't. With CM Punk though, he's almost universally respected, and like, you know, he's not cheered. He's cheered a little bit as a face, but only because of who he's facing. You know. Mm-hmm. If a heel is being cheered, it's only really by a matter of circumstance, because usually they do a very good job of developing heels, developing bad guys. But with this instance, it's because he's going up against John Cena, who's disliked by a good portion of the WWE universe.
Yeah.
So.
But go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, this is your video.
No, finish.
Well, now I forgot what I was saying. So
well, damn it. Well, I was just going to say, back to the Mick Foley segment. It was a very good segment. Go watch it if you didn't see it.
It's good stuff. If you want to watch Mick Foley being a badass, go ahead.
And it was one of those promos, because a lot of the promos, a lot of times promos, at least with me, there's a point where I'm like, okay, this has gone on way too long. They need to start wrapping it up. And this promo went on for a while, and I didn't feel that at all.
Yeah. I guess it did go on for a while. And I'm not going to say that it didn't feel like that, but it was decent. Mm-hmm. It was still very good. It was worth the time, which is more than I can say for a lot of other promos that we've seen in the past couple 3-hour Raws.
Okay, let's see. What are we going to talk about next? Miz and Ryback had a match. It didn't really matter other than it buried the heavyweight champion, or Intercontinental champion some more.
Yep.
Another Daniel Bryan and Kane segment. This is the When Harry Met Sally segment.
Oh, God.
Where they are sitting at the booths talking about how it'd be really nice if they could be friends. And they were talking about, like, when they beat up 8 other guys and hitting them with the chairs, and it kind of looked like they were orgasming.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what that was, and, you know, actually, this is, I mentioned that I was helping my mom in from the hospital. She walked right into the door, and I had Raw on the TV, and it was right when this was on.
Yeah, that's not awkward.
Yeah, and she asked, "What the hell are you watching?" And I just put my face in my face in my hands. I was like, "I'm watching wrestling." Yeah.
So, this one wasn't as funny as the first segment, but it was more like, what in the hell is going on? Let's see. Is it sad that we're skipping through most of the matches because they didn't really mean anything?
Well, I mean, we should at least mention what the matches were.
Okay, next match was Wade Barrett versus Tyson Kidd. It's essentially a way to continue to push Wade Barrett after his return.
Yeah, good for Barrett. Kidd, I have my opinions on him being jobbed out, but whatevs. He's still a damn good worker, and I think he deserves better, but
they
just don't have a place for him right now.
They
So,
need to have a cruiserweight division again.
without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind they need to have a cruiserweight division, but
They
Yeah.
really do. It gives something for these guys to do. Like, they're not going to do anything with Sin Cara, really. They're not going to do anything with Tyson Kidd, Justin Gabriel. You could put all these guys in the cruiserweights.
yeah.
And they could be doing something.
Yeah,
You have
definitely
3 hours.
agree. And I think that part of it was is that they're trying to treat them as equals, but really, how seriously can you take a sport where you have some 300-pound dude like Tensai or however much he weighs, versus a 195-pounder like Tyson Kidd? How seriously can you take that?
Essentially, once you see that match, you're like, oh, Tyson Kidd's in a job.
Yeah, and not only that, like, you just think of it from an outsider's perspective. You're saying, oh, what's this? Oh, wrestling? This doesn't have weight divisions or anything. It's like, yeah, I know that this stuff is kind of, sort of, fake-ish, but, you're not even gonna try? Really? Okay, fine. Click. You're not. It just doesn't work that way in the world of real sports. And if they're trying to take themselves, if you're going in the guise of a professional sport, like the events are supposed to take place in the as if they were real, as if this was an actual sporting event. That's the idea behind pro wrestling. It's kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters in that sense. It's sort of like if the Globetrotters just decided that they could have 8 people on the court and the Washington Generals could just have 5. It's that same sort of handicap that makes you take it a little less seriously, and for whatever. And I think it would be just a little less engaging to people who actually know their shit about sports.
That's a good analogy, by the way.
I try.
Let's see. What's the next segment? Next segment was the Jerry Lawler segment. Hopefully, I keep thinking that they're going to make this into, that this is all going to be, I'm horrified at the idea that this is all a work. It better not be a work. I don't sincerely think it's a work, but I'm kind of paranoid. And
It can't possibly.
I've said it in the past before, but I'm 100% serious this time. If this ends up being a work, I will never watch WWE again.
I don't think that WWE would be that tasteless.
I
really don't think they need the money, but they're going to have a grand old time, exploiting this thing anyway, because they're selling "Long Live the King" shirts, and they're going to milk it for all it's worth, because that's just what WWE does.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't really think it's a work, but there's always that sneaky suspicion.
It's like, this is definitely not outside of WWE's wheelhouse. Yeah.
Like,
But
remember...
you got to think, with Linda McMahon being on the campaign trail, and with every single thing that happens in WWE, whether she be connected to the company or not, herself personally, she's not the CEO of the company anymore. She relinquished that position in order to run for Senate in the state of Connecticut. You would think that no matter what happens, something that happens with WWE is going to be connected to her just inherently. So I don't see how they could do this with that in mind. It can't possibly be a work. They can't possibly be that stupid, or else they just sabotaged her whole campaign. And I think that that's the whole idea behind WWE going PG, behind this whole Susan G. Komen, for the Cure thing, behind this whole Be a Star campaign. I don't think they'd give a crap about that if it were not for Linda McMahon's political aspirations. And I think that if it was found out that this entire thing was a work, all of that goes out the window.
That's true. That's a very good point. But I just still have that little doubt in the back of my mind. Because remember, a couple years back maybe, when they had that thing where it was like a big actual news story that Jeff Hardy had been like hurt or attacked before like the pay-per-view, and they made it seem like a legit thing.
Oh, I mean, well, unless it was like, here's the thing: if it's picked up by a news source, it's probably not a work.
It was picked up by news sources. Like, they let it out as like a news story, and that's why like it was so shitty when it was like, oh, it's a work.
Yeah.
It even won.
That's a good point. You're talking about Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Okay. That's that's an entirely different thing. I know what you're talking about now. I kept thinking a bit back to like the time on SmackDown. He was supposed to be on I think the cutting edge.
No.
And the pyrotechnics went off in his face.
No, not that one.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the Survivor Series one where they where he was like, where they played it off as he got like really hurt, like something happened to him, blah blah blah. Like you saw it on like news stations or something. Maybe not like super legit news stations, but it was like, it wasn't something that popped up on like the WWE.com that was like, Jeff Hardy's been attacked, so you knew it was a storyline. Like they played it off in a way that it sounded legit, and then everybody got angry that they used it that way.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad about that now, because you know that no matter what, if a wrestler does get attacked in real life, none of us are going to take it seriously.
Exactly.
That, or if it does happen, that they'll try to either bury it, like Sheamus getting his ass kicked by Yoshitatsu, or try to play it off into storyline somehow.
All right, let's move on because we're on 30 minutes now.
Oh crap!
David Otunga, Ricardo Rodriguez, and Alberto Del Rio versus Sheamus, Rey Mysterio, and Sin Cara. I don't remember much of this match.
I did show you that picture of Sin Cara actually got unmasked during the match, and I think I know why, but I'll lay off for the reasoning because we're apparently on 30 minutes.
No, go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Supposedly Sin Cara and Alberto Del Rio have some beef with each other. The whole deal was that Del Rio, while he was wrestling in Mexico as Dos Caras, was supposedly held by Mystico or Sin Cara. Mystico is his name in Mexico. They supposedly Sin Cara and his goons held Dos Caras or Alberto Del Rio at gunpoint. Like, held a gun in his mouth or some shit like that over some beef. And that's why Del Rio straight up said he wouldn't work with Sin Cara, but now they put him in that position. So I think that Del Rio taking Sin Cara's mask off, I think that has something to do with that.
That would be
purely
crazy.
Speculation. I want to point that out. Purely speculation. If it was an accident, whatever. But, that's kind of what that's just my speculation on it. I don't want it to be like official word or anything like that.
That would be nuts. Let's see. Let's skip that. We're going to skip the Divas match because no one cares. Other than the fact that Beth Phoenix is leaving. And I'm very sad about that.
Caitlyn did reveal who attacked her or something.
Sort of.
Oh, they saw her hair.
Yeah. Caitlyn's attacker was blonde, which doesn't really mean anything because half the divas are blonde.
So the attacker was Michael Hayes, or
yeah.
Oh no! It was no, I can't even say Jericho now. Damn it!
Nope, can't even say Jericho now.
Can't say Triple H.
Let's see.
I'll get back to you on that.
Let's see. Let's move on. We're gonna skip that Divas match. Brodus Clay versus Tensai. We didn't even watch this match. We mostly were making up fake tag teams and naming them this whole time.
Yeah, we were making up, let's see. The first one that I came up with was Mark Henry and Antonio Cesaro's Swiss Chocolate.
My best one was Most of them involve Big Show, by the way. Most of our tag teams...
All of them involve Big Show.
Almost all of them involve Big Show.
Yeah, okay, almost. Fine.
Mine involved Big Show. Mine was Big Show and John Cena, and they would be the Super Show.
That actually was kind of good.
Or Big Show and Zack Ryder would be the Bro Show.
I did come up with one with the Big Show. Actually, I came up with two. But I want to see who gets this, who remembers the guy involved in this. The Giant, Big Show and Roadblock, the weapon of mass construction.
Let's see how many get that.
And if anyone remembers Roadblock, they will get it. But if you don't, you just didn't watch WCW back then, and I don't blame you. So.
Brett thought of a good one, which was Brodus Clay and Balls Mahoney, and they'd be Funky Balls.
I think I countered that with the Blue Meanie and Balls Mahoney.
Yes.
Yes.
Another Big Show one that I thought of. Most of mine involved Big Show. Where it was Big Show and Eve Torres, and that would be the Ho Show.
You know what? I just thought of one.
Go ahead.
The faction of Mae Young, Cody Rhodes, and Big Show, Antique Roadshow.
Antique Roadshow. That one's great.
I try.
Another one that I liked, Mark Henry and Damian Sandow. They would be Smart Mark.
Smart Mark. That was a good one. You're right. That was one of Brett's.
No, that one was mine. Damn it! I thought of that one.
I thought. Oh.
Brett thought of another one. Was Damian Sandow? He thought of. I think he thought of. Was it Sheamus and Mark Henry, and they were white chocolate?
Yeah, white chocolate. I think I mentioned Sheamus and Dave. White Power.
White Power, yeah, you got that one.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we were doing mostly through this match.
For you Final Fantasy fans, I had to say this one.
Yes.
Beth Phoenix and Eugene, Phoenix down.
That one's kind of messed up.
Yes, it is.
The reason why we bring up all of the tag teams is, like we said, most of them had Big Show, and then like Beetlejuice, after saying his name several times, Big Show appeared during this match. And did really weak-ass punches to Tensai and Brodus Clay. Alright. Into the show, and we are running at almost 40 minutes.
Yeah. So much for the quick review, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's not as long as our other ones sometimes. I remember we did a review that never got posted because someone was lazy. That was a 2-hour show, and there was an hour-long review.
Yeah, that's true.
But we went into a lot of side stories that time. Last thing in the night, John Cena comes out with his broken arm, thanks the fans for the support of himself and the cancer and the Susan G. The Cancer Foundation, and says he guarantees he'll be at Hell in a Cell even if his arm isn't better or whatever. Punk comes out, essentially tells him if he was smart he'd get out of the ring. Paul Heyman has been promoted in the CM Punk Corporation, which because he used to be CM Punk's driver, and now he's CM Punk's walking WWE display case.
Right. And I'm not sure how to feel about that, but, take it for what you will.
So, at one point, Punk's like he doesn't want to see him, Cena should run, and that Punk's going to turn around and count to 5, and if Cena's still there with his stupid pink hat, that he is going to hurt him. And as Punk turns around, Cena pulls a lead pipe and waits for Punk to turn around, and hits him with it.
Right.
does a slightly funny joke about a pipe bomb.
Yeah, that was, well, you can't...
They can't all be good ones.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Then to end the weird show, Punk is in the back, leaving after his beatdown from Cena. And Mick Foley's back there. Punk walks past him and then walks back to Foley and kicks him in the stomach or in the guts. And then walks off, turns around like he's going to do something else to Foley, and then Punk gets this horrified, scared look on his face, and it pans back over to Foley, and Ryback is standing over there just like breathing real hard and trying to look tough and everything, which was a weird fucking ending to Raw.
Well, obviously not satisfied with his victory over The Miz, Ryback came backstage, saw Mick Foley's lifeless body, and after the cameras shut off, he devoured his corpse.
And we end.
Feed him more.
And then we end the show with more corpse eating, because, that's kind of how we started the review.
Exactly.
I didn't say I was going to kill you. Brett asked if I had, and then I just went with it.
Shit. Well, I don't know. It's either way, kind of freaking disturbing.
He is only weirded out because, like, a week ago, he said, I told him, okay, so there's this story that, Deidre and I were on Skype with MB Wrestler, and we wanted to send him something. I forget what it was, maybe a birthday present or something. I don't remember. And he was doing that thing where he's like, no, I won't give you my address, so then you can't send it to me because I don't want you guys to buy me anything. That bullshit. And
right.
So I'm like, whatever, fucker, I have you on Facebook. So I went on his Facebook and I had his full name and what city he lived in. And was able to go on White Pages and just put that in and find where he lived.
Oh my god!
And I told,
that's right.
I told Stuart this story, and he didn't believe I could do it. And I have this guy on Facebook, and so I did it to him, and now he's weirded out. I wasn't doing it to stalk you. I was doing it to prove you wrong.
Well, either way, my house is now boarded up, and I bought a 12-gauge shotgun, so... Not that I would use it on you, but, just in case. Because I don't know who you're selling this shit to.
I mean, I've already... And then yesterday, Stuart, I was playing Assassin's Creed, and Stuart got to listen to me kill people on Assassin's Creed. And then he went away for a little bit, and since he wasn't in the call, but it was still going, I started singing the I Killed Stuart song.
Oh, God. You see what I put up with, people?
By the way, the I Killed Stuart song is like 2 verses, working on the third one. It'll have something to do with folding his body into a freezer.
That's comforting. Thank you very much. Jesus Christ.
Nobody's going to make it to this part of the video anyways.
Well, that's still goddamn disturbing.
They stopped listening like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, true.
To the 3 of you that are still listening, I think that's all we have. Unless Stuart has any other stories that he feels uneasy about.
I hope your house burns down.
I don't have a house. I have an apartment.
Oh. Well, less time.
And Stuart disappeared.
No, I didn't.
Dang it. Anyways, night everyone.
I hate you all.